What's up, y'all? Ben from the Fantasy Chairman Podcast and the Sasquatch Square Off here, and I want to tell you all about Anchor. If you've ever thought about getting into the podcasting game, you need to be using Anchor. For one, it's free. That's right, completely free, and you get unlimited storage to hold all your episodes, all your audio clips, all your listener voice messages in one place, making it super easy for you to use. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. It's literally as easy as clicking a button. You can make money from your podcast on Anchor with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey, yo! Fantasy Chairman Podcast, Episode 2.
We're back.
Of the launch week. We are back.
We are.
My name is Ben.
And my name's Alex.
We are the Fantasy Chairman. And we have a mock draft episode for you today.
Ooh.
Mock draft episode to help us kick off our launch week here. We're excited and we're happy to be here. Happy to tell you guys all about how we like to go about doing our drafts.
We are in mock draft season.
It is
month of August
season.
is mock draft season.
Absolutely. And every day still just hoping and wishing and praying that NFL season will just go off without a hitch.
Exactly.
That's just all we're hoping about. We got through the opt-out time without any major names.
That's good.
That is good. Thank goodness for that.
Thank goodness.
I'm very happy that, there were no major fantasy studs.
There were a few that I was worried about, but we've made it past the period, and let's get ready for some football.
Let's get ready for some football. As of now, things are planned to go according to plan.
No, there's
if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's no preseason.
What according to plan means is still up for debate.
We all know there's no preseason, anything like that. So watch out for those major injuries and things in week 1 and 2. And before we dive into our mock draft, I think Alex and I just wanted to give you guys a little advice and just kind of tell you kind of what we're doing in our leagues to mitigate the effects that COVID may end up having on your fantasy team for the season. So we've got our home redraft league that we run, and that's our League of Origin. And then we have our Dynasty League that we also run. So we've got kind of both worlds that we're dealing with.
Best of both worlds.
The best of both worlds, correct. Very competitive leagues. A couple of the things that we've been doing or that we put together in those two leagues is expanding the IR spots. So in our Dynasty League, we had 2, right?
We had 2. Mm-hmm.
We were sitting at 2 just normally, and for redraft, we didn't have any IR slots, right? What we've done is expanded the IR slots in the Dynasty League to 4 IR slots, and we have, a 20-person bench?
20-person bench, yep.
20-person bench. So it's a lot deeper, obviously. So with Dynasty, I think there's probably a little less of a need, depending on how deep your bench and stuff is. There's probably a little bit less of a need for expanded IR slots, but we think it's still a good idea to add 2 to even 5 in there for some. I've seen some leagues are adding up to 5 IR spots. I've heard of a couple maxing them out.
Yeah, unlimited.
So,
which is pretty wild.
But, I think most platforms are adding the capability to give a COVID designation to players now. Or if they have opted out for the season, then there's a DNR designation, which just means did not report. And so for our leagues, we're allowing the COVID players to be put on the IR. And then once their COVID designation disappears, they have to be taken off the IR, which I don't think most platforms won't let you set your lineup until that player's out of the IR anyway.
Yeah, it'll be locked.
So it would end up being locked. So you got to get that player out of there. And then for DNR, we're allowing opt-out players onto the IR spot, but it's honor code for opt-outs due to COVID only. If it's DNR for somebody that's holding out, or if it's DNR for somebody that just doesn't show up, then they cannot be put on the IR.
And really, I mean, that's not really going to matter at all for the redraft league. I mean, the people that opt out, you're not even going to be drafting them. So you don't got to worry about that. And in the Dynasty League,
you worry about that a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably actually float those did not report players back to your bench if you actually have somebody that went to an injury IR and flip flop them out. So it gives flexibility to be able to use those spots as best you can. So
and some fantasy teams are going to be getting hit a whole lot harder than others. And I know the general consensus among fanalists and fantasy analysts is that you just want to limit as much effect on your team and your league that COVID is going to have. So being flexible with some of these things is a good idea. We added 4 IR slots into our redraft league just to deal with those COVID designation players. And that's all that we're going to allow in our redraft league because we typically do not have IR spots. So anybody that gets injured or, is out for 8 weeks, you can't put them in the IR.
No,
it's for COVID only.
Yep.
So
So
that's what we're doing. I mean, some redraft leagues may have an IR slot like normal, which is just fine. It's up to what you want to do with your league, but we're keeping our rules mainly the same, but we're just trying to add flexibility for COVID designation players. And there's going to be a lot of bouncing in and out of those spots, I feel like, this season.
Yeah, we don't want people losing because of COVID. So
yeah. And one thing, and maybe we need to discuss, is the use of daily waivers during the regular season. I think I was listening to the Fantasy Footballers the other day, and they were talking about they just typically normally have daily waivers, but then opening it up on Sundays to where you can just pick up free agents and things like that. We have daily waivers in our Dynasty League in the off season that run every morning. It may be worth discussing whether we want to have daily waivers just so that everybody has that equal opportunity to put a bid in on a player to pick them up.
And the reason for that was the NFL agreed with the Players Union that up to 90 minutes before the game
exactly.
that a player can be put on the COVID list. So they show up to the stadium, they have a temperature and a cough, they're going on the COVID list more likely.
So at any point during the week, you could have a player get put on COVID. All of a sudden, their backup becomes a hot commodity if they're on waivers. You probably want to run, maybe not even daily, but maybe just a couple of times throughout the week. Just have waivers lock and then run so that everybody gets an equal opportunity to be able to put in for the backup. And then on the weekends or on game days, your commish would have to be on top of it in changing the settings from daily or whatever to being open so that you can, after they run one time in the morning, then you open them up and then you're able to just pick up players off the waiver wire. So those are some thoughts. Those are some of our thoughts. We are still obviously working out a couple of things, but our main consensus and our main thoughts on it are just to be flexible and just try to limit the amount of effect that COVID is going to take on your leagues.
Yeah.
Be understanding and
still want to have fun. You don't want people to be quitting fantasy football because, COVID ruined it.
Because they get screwed over, and they got...
You either got to be flexible with it or you just got to stand pat and say, this is how it is, do one or the other. Don't try and be, something in the middle. So we're to the point where it can get murky and then people get frustrated.
Rules need to be consistent, but your rules probably need to change for this season just to allow for some flexibility with being able to move people on and off rosters without having to drop a guy who gets COVID, but he's going to be back in 2 weeks.
And the footballers talked about that yesterday too. They talked about, either you allow maximum flexibility or you allow for none, and just, people just have to be smart with their waiver wire money and when to do it. So, it's either,
having Fab too is good. That's just more of a fair way to run waivers.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that for years. So
the first few years we didn't have Fab, and there were some times where
people
were people were a little upset with some stuff. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But Fab's the way to go. Free agent auction budget. Mm-hmm. That's the way to run that. Anyway, let's get off COVID. Let's get out of this negative mindset.
Let's do what we came here to do.
That's right. We've got a mock draft on tap. We'll go through our settings for this mock draft. And then we will take a quick break before we get it started. So we are doing a 12-team, and we're keeping it pretty standard as this is our first mock draft for this upcoming season with our new launch for our podcast here. It's going to be 12 teams, half PPR scoring, snake draft, and we're going to have 1 quarterback slot, 2 running back slots, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex, and 1 defense, and then 7 bench spots. So 16 rounds that we'll go through here, and keeping, like I said, pretty standard for what the industry is doing nowadays as far as drafts go. And this is a redraft mock draft, not dynasty. So this is redraft. Mm-hmm. And with that, we'll take a quick break and be right back with you.
Hey everyone, Alex and Ben with the Fantasy Chairman here. Wanted to let you all in on a great opportunity to win some awesome signed memorabilia while also being able to give back to a great cause.
This August and September, the Fantasy Chairman are holding a raffle drawing contest where 100% of the proceeds will go to the Roundup City Racers, a nonprofit 501c3 fundraising program created by coaches of the Pendleton High School track and cross country teams to provide athletic and scholarship opportunities to the youth of Pendleton, Oregon.
By purchasing a ticket to the Fantasy Chairman Fall Raffle Fundraiser, you will be contributing to a great cause. All proceeds go directly to the Roundup City Racers and back into the youth of Pendleton, Oregon, and any contributions you make is completely tax deductible. You also have the chance to win either a signed Todd Gurley LA Rams jersey or a signed Allen Robinson Chicago Bears jersey.
So what are you waiting for? For more information, visit www.fantasychairman.com and click on the Pay It Forward tab, or click the link in this episode's description. All right, we're back, Alex.
We're here.
We are here, and we're ready to mock draft. So Alex randomized where the spots that he and I will be picking, and I got the 8 spot, and Alex got the number 3 spot. Mm-hmm. So that is where we'll be drafting from, and let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Begin the draft. Drafting on Sleeper, my new favorite fantasy platform. Oh man, Ezekiel Elliott went number 1. I was getting real scared that McCaffrey somehow would fall to you right there.
Oh man.
But McCaffrey went at number 2.
Dang it.
Woo!
I joked about automatically setting McCaffrey to 1-3, but I guess I won't have that opportunity. So at this point right here, 1-3, you're going to have a stud here either way, likes of Barkley or Kamara or Dalvin Cook. Difference between, this is half point PPR, correct?
Half PPR, correct.
Half PPR. If it was full PPR, you could consider Michael Thomas just because of the sheer volume he's going to be getting with receptions, sure. But I would stick with running back here personally. And I'm looking for a slight bounce back year to Saquon, so I'm going to be taking Saquon at 1-3.
Ooh. I mean, Saquon at 3, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Michael Thomas went at 4, Derrick Henry at 5, Alvin Kamara at 6, Dalvin Cook at 7, and I am on the clock here. All right. With the likes of Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Miles Sanders staring me in the face here. Oh, well, there's a lot of guys sitting.
This is where I'll be drafting in the big league this year.
This is
so I'm
where
curious
you'll be
to
drafting.
see who you'll be taking.
Yeah, I know. I kind of figured you'd be looking at some of this here. Oh, and half PPR, man.
So kind of the names he's looking at right now is like Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Miles Sanders, Nick Chubb. All the quarterbacks are there, Mahomes and Lamar. So, again, still some really good names here, but just kind of dependent upon.
For sure. I'm going to take a guy that I think could actually lead the league in receptions and targets this year, and I'm going to go Devontae Adams.
Okay.
Right here at the 8.
All right.
After that, Tyreek Hill goes at 9, Josh Jacobs at 10, Miles Sanders 11, Nick Chubb rounds out the first round at 12. Then we're getting into the second round with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, and then Julio Jones at the 2-4.
First quarterback at 2-1. Single Patrick quarterback Mahomes. Lead.
That's about right with his right in line with his ADP though. Man, and a lot of mock drafts, that's kind of where I'm seeing him going.
And typically, you and I, we're not advocates of the early quarterback. So there's lots of value to be had at the end, unless you have some crazy value that falls to you.
Yeah. If I was sitting more towards the end of the second round, I maybe would consider a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson there. Mm-hmm. But there's still a lot of value at like the running back and wide receiver position here. And I went wide receiver in the first with Devontae Adams. I'm going to go with a guy that I believe can be a top 5 running back this year. And I'm going to take Kenyon Drake at the 205. I think he's going to get a lot of receiving work, and I think they love having him in that system in Arizona. Mm-hmm. We saw that at the end of last season, and I think he's a great pick in the second round.
So after you took Kenyon Drake, Travis Kelce went at 2.6, Eckler at 2.7, Godwin at 2.8, and George Kittle at 2.9. And now I'm staring right in the face what we just talked about.
Oh, man.
So I have the likes of DeAndre Hopkins here as well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Mike Evans, James Conner, Galladay, Thielen, Gordon, Carson, and man, I can't take my eyes off Lamar Jackson right now. I kind of think I might be going with him.
No, I can understand that. Like I said, at the end, towards the end of the second round, if
Saquon Barkley, Lamar Jackson start,
that's a pretty nasty start. I mean, with Lamar Jackson, if you haven't listened to the Sasquatch Square Off episode right before this, Matt and I talk a whole lot about 4 players that you'll see in the first and second round, and Lamar Jackson was one of them. And man, I tell you what, with Lamar Jackson, you're getting a quarterback and a running back in one pick.
Exactly. So I went Lamar Jackson, just FYI, while the timer was going down. So DeAndre Hopkins goes at 2.11, and to round it out, 2.12, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So he's climbing up there in the rankings.
That ADP's climbing. I hear a lot about him going in the first round. So to see him at 2.12 is surprising in a couple of different ways. Mm-hmm. To see him at 2.12 first off, but then to not see him earlier too. A lot of hype around him right now.
So, Carson went at 3.1, then Galladay at 3.2. I'm at 3.3 here. I think I'm going to go wide receiver here. I'd like to go running back, but I feel like I'd have to reach for a few other running backs. So I'm going to go Mike Evans.
There you go.
I think in a potent Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense that just picked up Tom Brady, I think there's going to be a lot of points to be scored in the NFC South as well. So I'm hoping I just picked up the running back 1, quarterback 1, and wide receiver 1 right there in the third round, at the 1-3 slot.
I do like Mike Evans in the third round like that. That's about in line with his ADP and kind of where I've been seeing him go a lot.
James Conner went 3.4, Leonard Fournette 3.5, Melvin Gordon 3.6, Adam Thielen 3.7, and you're on the clock at 3.8.
I am, and
who are you looking at?
Right now, I am pretty certain on who I'm going to take right here. I'm going to go running back, and a lot of people sleeping on this guy because of his knees, but I think going to Atlanta. He's the guy there in the backfield, and I'm going to take Todd Gurley at the 308.
I like it.
After him went David Johnson.
Man, running back run.
Yeah, there was a major running back run
That's
here.
the thing that scares me right there is if you don't take a couple running backs in the first 3 rounds, it gets thin really quickly.
Yes, we had a major running back run. David Johnson, 309. Mark Ingram at the 310. Le'Veon Bell, 311. Devin Singletary to round out the 3rd round. And Mark Andrews, tight end for the Baltimore Ravens, kicked off the 4th round. At the first pick, Cooper Kupp went at 402. David Montgomery, 403. And then DK Metcalf went at the 404. Which is pretty interesting. DK going ahead of the likes of Amari Cooper, A.J. Brown, Calvin Ridley, Allen Robinson, and Juju Smith-Schuster.
I like DK Metcalf this year a lot, but man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take him ahead of, guys like, A.J. Brown, Cooper, Robinson, Schuster. I don't think I could do that.
That's pretty wild, man. And
Robert Woods too. Like, man,
this is a spot that, man, I like a lot of these names right here. And so this might have to be one where Matt and I kind of go back and forth in the Sasquatch square off. Because I got a few guys that I'm looking at. I'd be happy with any of them, really.
Mm-hmm.
Man. But I think I'm gonna go a little something different than what I typically do here. I think I don't like the peaks and valleys of this guy, but I think in the 4th round he's kind of a steal of a pick. He's probably going to be almost a guaranteed wide receiver 1, and I'm going to take Amari Cooper at the 405. It's hard to pass up on that. With Robert Woods following behind, Juju Smith-Schuster at 407, and then Odell Beckham Jr. at the 408, who I usually like a lot in the 4th round here. And then A.J. Brown, another really good pick at the 409, and Alex is on the clock.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here at the 410 right now. A lot of good wide receivers on the board right here. Running backs are kind of getting thin, like I talked about. Top ones right now that I'm looking at that are available: Jonathan Taylor, Raheem Mostert, Kareem Hunt, DeAndre Swift. I'm going to play a little gamble right here. I'm going to play a little gamble.
Going to see if he gets back to you.
Going to see if he gets back to me. There's a couple that I like right there. So I like Jonathan Taylor. I like Kareem Hunt quite a bit.
I'm rising on Jonathan Taylor.
And then I like Mostert as well. And Swift would kind of be like my last option out of those top 4 running backs that are available there.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, there's some great wide receivers that are available there too. Yeah. Robinson, I love Robinson. And DJ Moore as well. Tyler Lockett's there as well, and Keenan Allen. Lots of good receivers. So I'm going to go with Allen Robinson here. I think Nick Foles will be the quarterback, and I think
that's where you were going.
And I think he's going to be slinging the rock to Allen Robinson quite a bit this year. And if not, if Trubisky's the quarterback, he's already shown that he has an affinity for
hyper targets. Allen Robinson.
Right? Yeah, Robinson.
I think he got 160 some targets last year with Trubisky at quarterback. So
yeah,
I don't think you're going to see much of a fall off if Nick Foles is the starter there either.
Mm-hmm. So after Robinson at 410, who I took, Jonathan Taylor went 411.
Is that who you wanted to fall?
It was between Taylor and Kareem Hunt, honestly. So
okay.
Calvin Ridley at 412, Mostert went 5-1, and then DJ Moore 5-2. So, yep. I'm going to. It's a little bit of a reach, but I like the upside of Kareem Hunt. And if something were to ever happen to Nick Chubb, he is a shoo-in for a top 5 running back.
Yeah,
so
listen to our next episode, and you'll hear a little something.
Mm-hmm. Hear a little something
about Kareem Hunt.
No
spoilers.
It's a little reach, but when you're on the end caps, sometimes you have to reach for some players if you really believe in somebody. So I am taking Kareem Hunt there as my running back too. So
I think Kareem Hunt's going to have plenty of value on his own, and yes, like you said, will be a massive handcuff if Nick Chubb were to go down.
After I took Kareem Hunt at 5'3", T.Y. Hilton 5'4", Kyler Murray 5'5", third quarterback off the board, Tyler Lockett 5'6", Keenan Allen 5'7". So, Ben, you've got 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs. What are you thinking here?
Started pretty even, and
I'm a little out of my element here taking Lamar at 210. I mean, I don't feel bad about it. It's just...
Yeah, not something that typically either one of us would do.
Yeah, but it's hard to pass up, man, like you said at the end there.
Yeah, well...
So who are you thinking here? Got the likes of, in the rankings right here, Zach Ertz, Russell Wilson, DJ Chark, Stephon Diggs.
Well, I'm liking a lot of the wide receivers that are here right now. I think wide receiver depth is a lot better at this point in the draft. So I'm going to reach down a little ways and just shore up a running back that I think is pretty darn good. He was my favorite rookie running back coming into the draft.
Don't do it.
And I'm going to take DeAndre Swift right here at the 508.
Oh, my gosh. I was hoping he'd fall back to me.
There was no way he was getting to you, man. That's why I'm taking him here. I don't think he's going to make it back to me at the 605.
Oh, I bet he might have. He might have.
I don't know.
Well, after you took Swift at 5'8", Russell Wilson 5'9", Zach Ertz 5'10", Diggs at 11, Marquise Brown 5'12", DJ Chark opens up the sixth round, 6'1", AJ Green 6'2". He's creeping up the board.
Yeah, he is. He's starting to. People are starting to believe a little bit more.
Dak Prescott 6'3", and Cortland Sutton, that probably spurns you a little bit right there, 6'4".
I was kind of hoping for Cortland there. But I was looking at, so at the 508 spot where I took Swift, I was looking at Sutton, Chark, Marquise Brown, and Terry McLaurin. And like I said, I would be happy with pretty much any of these receivers. So luckily, I took the gamble, took Swift. A few of those receivers that I liked got taken, but Terry McLaurin made it back around to me, and I'm going to be more than happy to take Terry McLaurin at the 605, the number one target there for the Washington football team.
I like it.
And he was an absolute beast last year as a rookie, and he'll continue that dominance this season.
So after you took Terry McLaurin at 6'5", Darius Geis goes at 6'6", Darren Waller 6'7", Deebo Samuel 6'8". I don't know if he'll go around there. He might fall back a little bit with the injury that he had. He's going to be out for the first few weeks of the season. Cam Akers 6'9", and I'm on the board at 6'10" here. Looking at top-ranked players here, Deshaun Watson, Marlon Mack, Gronkowski, Devontae Parker, Brandon Cooks, Ronald Jones, a few other guys down the board that I like too, but I want to play the risk it game here, but I don't think I can, so I'm going to shore up another running back for my RBs here and hope one of these wide receivers makes it back to me that I like. Going Ronald Jones here at 6'10".
Oh, Ronald Jones, eh? Bruce Arians just came out and said he's the guy.
Came out and endorsed him.
He's the main guy.
I like the sounds of that.
He was real outspoken about him last offseason too. So
so the guy I was hoping that was going to make it back to me, Devontae Parker, did not. He went at 6'11".
Right after you.
Deshaun Watson 6'12", Brandon Cooks 7'1", and Marlon Mack at 7'2". So I played the gamble game. I don't think Ronald Jones would have made it back to me at 7'3" had I done it.
No, he probably would have gone in there somewhere just looking at some of these guys' teams. He may have gone over Marlon Mack at the 702 spot there too.
So I'm looking at wide receiver again right here. Still need a tight end as well, but I'm not really going to reach for any tight ends right here. I already got a quarterback. Don't need that.
You're not taking Gronk?
I'm not taking Gronk right here. I'm not taking Gronk.
All right. Fair enough.
Got 3 quarterbacks here right now, so I'm feeling pretty good. Only 2 wide receivers, so I am probably leaning wide receiver here. And some of the ones, got Jarvis, got Gallup, Edelman, Fuller, Boyd, Marvin Jones. I think I'm going to go Julian Edelman here. I think Cam Newton's going to win the starting job there with the Patriots. And he has a knack for finding his slot receivers. And I think Julian Edelman is, he's a little bit older, but he still is able to, he's got some wiggle to be able to get out there and get open for Cam quickly. So, and I think he'll be his best bud there. So lots of receptions in store for Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman definitely going to catch a lot of balls, especially if this was full PPR.
Ooh.
Could be a pretty good pick there. Michael Gallup went at the 704, followed by Rob Gronkowski. Came out of retirement this year.
Yeah, he did.
705. Jarvis Landry at the 706. Mr. Consistent. J.K. Dobbins, who I was kind of eyeing for this pick here, went at the 707. So far, I am even on running backs and wide receivers. And there's quite a few quarterbacks looking me in the eye right here on the ADP list.
7th round quarterback. Is that what you're thinking?
I don't know. That's still a little early for me.
Lots of them, though.
There is a lot just sitting right there. The one that I am looking at is your boy, Mr. Matt Ryan, who we both think could have a pretty stellar season this year, the way he ping-pongs back and forth. And I'm going to take the chance that he's not going to come back to me. And I'm going to go with wide receiver or running back here. I'm going to try to shore up my running back.
You're going to take the chance he's not coming back to you, or that he will make it back to you?
I'm going to take the chance that he will come back to me. That's what I meant to say.
I was like, what?
Sorry, I got a little tongue-tied on that. I was reading the list here. I'm going to try to shore up some of my running back depth. I think that's going to be really important in this COVID season for sure. And I'm going to take Tevin Coleman here at the 708. I think he's going to have some standalone value in that Kyle Shanahan offense, the 49ers, who are the second best rushing team in the NFL. I think Mostert will be the guy there, but if anything happens to Mostert, I think Tevin Coleman will step up and be the guy. But again, I think he'll be rotated in and out, have some standalone value. And coming back to me at the 805, Matt Ryan did make it. I'm going to go ahead and in the 8th round take Matt Ryan, who I think can finish as a top 3 quarterback this season.
Evan Ingram went 7'9", Will Fuller 7'10", Michelle 7'11", Tyler Boyd 7'12", Kerryon Johnson went 8'1", Rodgers 8'2", Emmanuel Sanders 8'3", James White 8'4". You took Matt Ryan at 8'5", Drew Brees 8'6", Tom Brady 8'7", Jordan Howard 8'8", and Carson Wentz at 8'9". So on the clock back here in the 8th round.
Lots of quarterbacks in the 8th round there.
Lots of quarterbacks.
You shored yours up, though.
I did early on.
Yours up real early.
I'm kind of leaning towards the running back again here, like you said. I think running back is an area that you want to be shored up in. Wide receivers really deep this year again. Lots of players that could bust out in wide receiver this year. And Jordan Howard was actually one guy I was considering. I think either Jordan Howard or Matt Breida is going to be the starter eventually there. I don't know which one is which or which one will. So I'm going to go with
that's a backfield I have a difficult time with.
Yeah, I don't really have a good feel on it, but I think somebody's going to win the job outright or get more of the 60% versus the 40% carry volume. So I'm going to go with Matt Breida.
Yep.
Hopefully the wide receiving aspect of his game will trump Jordan Howard.
The higher PPR, the more valuable Matt Breida becomes. Jordan Howard's not going to be catching balls in Miami.
No.
That's going to be Matt Breida. So if you're in a non-PPR league, Jordan Howard will probably be the guy you want to take there. Hunter Henry went at the 8-11, and Phillip Lindsay closed out the 8th round. Deontay Johnson is a receiver that I like a lot this season, went at the 901. I was kind of hoping he might fall to me, but he did not. Josh Allen went at 902, and Alex is on the clock at the 903.
903 here. 903. I'm kind of...
We're both sitting in the same spot with 1 quarterback, 4 running backs, and 3 wide receivers right now.
I am going to... Oh, man. This might be a little... I like Marvin Jones a lot, too, but he's sitting here. But I'm thinking there's another player that I like, and I want to have
time it out.
Oh, man. Oh.
You got Marvin Jones.
I guess I'll take Marvin Jones then.
Yeah.
I thought you paused it for a second.
I thought I did, too,
well,
but it did not.
Moving on. Never mind.
I can reverse it.
Oh.
Who are you going to take there?
I was debating on reaching for Henry Ruggs, actually.
Oh, man. Henry Ruggs?
But I will take Marvin. I'm fine with Marvin, too. I like Marvin.
Marvin Jones? Okay.
That's fine.
You don't think Henry Ruggs is going to make it back to you in the
He might.
If
he does, then I'll like that quite a bit. But I had a fallback plan if he didn't make it.
All right.
Or if Marvin didn't make it back around to me. So
gotcha. Well, sorry about it. I thought I paused the draft so you could,
I thought you did too.
So you could take a little time to talk there. I don't know what happened.
You're debating your stuff.
That's my bad.
All right. Darius Slayton went 9.4, Latavius 9.5, Alexander Madison 9.6, Keyshawn Vaughn 9.7. You're on the clock at 9.8.
I am on the clock at 9.8, and kind of what I'm staring down, I've got the likes of CeeDee Lamb, Mecole Hardman, Christian Kirk staring me in the face there. Hayden Hurst, Noah Fant, Jerry Jeudy. Ooh, I do like me some Jerry Jeudy.
There's a Broncos fanboy.
But I'm going to do something just to spurn Alex right here, and I'm going to go ahead and get my tight end off the board, shore up my quarterback, and a guy that we both believe in. New tight end for the Atlanta Falcons.
I bet he makes it back to you in time 5. Oh, man. Well, maybe not. Jared Cook,
I'm taking
Tyler Higbee.
Hayden Hurst. I've got the I've got the double point fever of Matt Ryan and Hayden Hurst now. I didn't want to take the chance on Hayden Hurst not making it back to me. So I went ahead and shored him up at the 908. Between the receivers that were available there, I'm actually pretty happy between any of those. So went ahead and let those go past me. And I'm going to take my boy. I'm going to do a little bit of bias pick in here. Denver Bronco fan here.
Oh, my gosh.
But I do like this guy. I think he is going to have some good value this year. I don't know that his ceiling is quite what it would be in a couple of years or with a more established quarterback. But I'm going to take Jerry Jeudy right here. The guy is a filthy route runner. And, I think he potentially could be the guy there eventually in Denver.
I like it.
Okay, I'm paused for you. I'll recap.
Well, my guy made it back to me, so you don't got to pause it now. I think I know who I'm going to take. But
pause
go
it for
ahead.
you. We'll recap the picks here. So after I took Hayden Hurst, Jared Cook, 909, CeeDee Lamb at the 910, Tyler Higbee, 911, Mecole Hardman, 912. Starting in the 10th round, Chase Edmonds, who is probably one of the top 3 handcuffs this year, took at the 1001. Darrell Henderson at the 10:02, Christian Kirk at the 10:03, then Matthew Stafford 10:04. I went Jerry Jeudy. Daniel Jones went at the 10:06, and then the first defense off the board, New England Patriots at the 10:07. Zach Moss 10:08, and Noah Fant was 10:09. And Alex's guy, old Henry Ruggs, I didn't snipe him from you.
I know you were thinking about it.
I was thinking about it, but. Made it back to you.
Made it back to me.
Henry Ruggs off the board at the 10:10. And I am typically not a big fan of drafting rookie wide receivers in redraft leagues. But man, this wide receiver class was real good.
One of the big reasons that I like Ruggs this year.
Did you pick Ruggs?
Well, no, I was going to talk a little bit about him.
Sorry. I just want to make sure I'm not messing it up for you again. Nope. Anyway, you like Ruggs, yeah?
I like Ruggs just because, he has one key factor that has proven can be dominant in a league, and that's just, elite speed, top caliber speed, that if you can burn people and take the top off defenses and catch those bombs, you can have... guys like that can win your week for you. So
old Gruden wants him to be their Tyreek Hill.
That's
for sure.
That's for darn sure. So Austin Hooper went 10-11, Tony Pollard 10-12, and then Justin Jefferson, another rookie, opened up the 11th round. John Brown 11-2.
Yeah, again, this is a rookie wide receiver class, so we think can be special. So, you definitely don't want to reach too far ahead to get them, but. Once it gets back to some of these later rounds like this, I feel better about taking them this year than I do in most, even though I do think I will put the caveat out there that they probably will have a slow start just because of the way the offseason has gone.
Mm-hmm. More than likely.
So they're more of a...
Give them a week or 2 or 3.
Yep. Or hope that they just explode.
Mm-hmm.
But...
In a typical year, rookie wide receivers especially, you see them you start seeing... shades of what the draft capital, what they were expecting with their draft capital about mid-season. You'll start to see these rookie wide receivers start breaking off big plays, having big games, and it might be a little intermittent there towards the end, but towards the end of the season, you'll start to see these rookie wide receivers come into form as they are acclimating to the speed of the NFL.
Yep. So, and again, these rookies in this draft are just a whole another level, I think.
Speaking of
like
rookies,
them all a lot.
I already know which one I'm taking here at this pick, and I don't think he's going to make it this far due to all the hype that he's had this year. And once Ben unlocks the clock here.
It's unlocked. You're good.
You think you know who I'm taking?
You going Rager?
No, not Rager.
No, not
He's
Rager.
got big-time hype this year, man.
I don't see anybody.
Because a certain coach made a...
Antonio Gibson?
Yep, a certain coach made a certain comparison to him of a player he used to coach. So
Antonio Gibson is not Christian McCaffrey, okay? Ron Rivera spoke up and said that Antonio Gibson is just like Christian McCaffrey.
Well, at this point in the draft, with Gibson being my fourth running back, if he even be
fifth.
Oh, he is. I took Barkley. Yeah, I guess I didn't scroll up that high. Yep. But being my fifth running back, even better. Lottery ticket right there, especially with all the hype. And, he was hyper efficient in college, so and played in many spots over the field, wide receiver, running back. I even think he did a little bit of wildcat as well, throwing the ball just a little bit. So
that he did.
He can do a little bit of everything. And, with Ron Rivera comparing him to Christian McCaffrey, I'll take the chance.
Bite the hype. Okay. Well, I am going to go with Jamison Crowder here at the 11:08, taking the guy who is just a PPR monster and is likely going to be the number one wide receiver there with the Jets for quite a while. Mm-hmm. We know Sam Darnold likes him a whole lot.
It's a safe pick. That's a good one.
Yeah, Jamison Crowder. After I went with Jerry Jeudy, kind of the upside, hopeful pick in the 10th round, I wanted to play it a little safer in the 11th. Between you and me in our picks, Tariq Cohen went off at 11:04, Sammy Watkins at 11:05, Baker Mayfield 11:06, Mike Williams. I took Jamison Crowder, then Anthony Miller, Sterling Shepard, Deshaun Jackson went off at 11:11, and Kirk Cousins round out the 11th round. Justin Jackson, Duke Johnson, Dallas Goedert, and Jalen Reagor went off to start the 12th. And I was kind of hoping that Duke Johnson would follow me here, just a PPR back who I think is going to have a little bit of standalone value. But, if David Johnson, who we've seen be pretty fragile the last couple of years, if he went down, I think Duke Johnson would definitely get a very big workload increase there. So it would have been a good pick for me in the 12th.
Most definitely.
He did not make it. I've got 4 running backs right now, and again, I want a little bit more running back depth, especially in this COVID season, and I'm going to take Damian Harris, sophomore running back for the New England Patriots. Sony Michel had another offseason surgery. He's on the PUP right now. Whether he starts the season on the PUP remains to be seen, but if he does, that means he's out for 8 weeks, and I think Damian Harris is going to be the guy, at least for the first and second downs there in New England.
I like it.
Brandon Ayuk at the 12:06, Golden Tate off the board, 12:07, N'Keal Harry at the 12:08, and then Jared Goff, 12:09, and Alex is on the clock at the 12:10.
I think I'm going to go with a tight end that I think is slowly. He's at sleeper potential this year, potential breakout, and with more and more news with a lot of the wide receivers for this team opting out, I think his target volume is just increasing day by day, and he already has the skills to be able to become a top 10 tight end and potentially even better. But I'm going Mike Gesicki right here.
Hey, I like that guy a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Good pick there in the 12th. Alex with the Mike Gesicki, getting your first tight end off the board. Rashad Penny at the 12:11, and Cam Newton rounds out the 12th round. Speaking of Miami receivers and people opting out, Preston Williams went off at 13:01 with... Who was it? Alan Hearns and Albert Wilson that opted out now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Gesicki and Preston Williams this year.
Yeah, Preston Williams, they might be working him back slowly after tearing his ACL towards the end of the year. So
got cleared.
He got cleared, but they might work him in slowly. So I think Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki are going to get a lot of targets to start it off.
Preston Williams had a stretch of games last year, though, man, that he just tore it up.
And I think I'm just going to double tap this right here and try to capitalize on finding a tight end that's going to work well. So I'm going to go. It's a little contrarian to what I usually do, but I'm going Jonnu Smith right here as well. So
hey, there you go.
I've kind of been waiting for tight ends towards the later half of the draft, and then even close to the very end there. But if you can get two of these kind of potential breakout tight ends, and whichever one does, I mean, odds are you might have one, and if you can, then you play him, have the other one be your backup. But
not a bad strategy when you play the wait on tight end or the wait on QB game if you take two of them towards the back half of the draft there. Again, especially this year, I think being able to pick up handcuffs and being able to pick up sort of backup players for positions that you normally wouldn't pick another one in the draft, or, some people wouldn't. I think this is a good year that you could probably do that to try and shore yourself up and make sure you have a backup plan.
Maximize your chances to get one of those breakout players.
Exactly. Alshon Jeffrey off the board here at the 1304, which we believe he's going to be starting the season on the PUP. So if that is the case, I doubt we see Jeffrey get drafted at all in a lot of redraft leagues. Ryan Tannehill at 1305, Robbie Anderson 1306, and the second defense off the board, the San Francisco 49ers at the 1307. I am on the clock. I've got every position covered at this point. But again, man, I am just going to go through. Well, let's see. No, I like this guy a lot. I'm going to go with Michael Pittman, rookie wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. It's sounding like just a lot of the talk is that he's going to step in as a day one sort of starter, whereas Paris Campbell may be the slot guy or the backup to T.Y. Hilton. And it's likely going to be Michael Pittman and T.Y. Hilton out there in two wide receiver sets. And a lot of people are kind of comparing Michael Pittman to kind of what Mike Williams was for Phillip Rivers. But
you're talking Vincent Jackson as well?
Vincent Jackson too. Yep. There's a lot of that talk. I guess more of what they hoped Mike Williams would be.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Because they were talking about Mike Williams kind of being that guy for Phillip Rivers when he came out. That Vincent Jackson role.
After you took Pittman there, A.J. Dillon went at 13-9, then Roethlisberger, then Eric Ebron, then Carlos Hyde, last pick of the 13th round. Rashad Perriman kicks off the 14th round. Jimmy G, 14-2. LaShawn McCoy, 14-3, just got picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a few days ago. And then Los Angeles Chargers, 14-4, and you're on the clock at 14-5.
This is a lot more rookies than I typically like to take in a redraft league. But
you going another one?
I'm going to go with another one right here. This is a rookie running back.
Oh, okay.
Derrick Henry does not catch the ball. So Darrington Evans, I believe, is going to be the receiving back for Tennessee. So down here in the 14th round, I'm going to take the guy that I think is going to have receiving value. And if Derrick Henry goes down, we're going to see that value spike. So Darrington Evans in the 14th, I'll take that right there.
That's not bad. It's not bad.
Adrian Peterson goes off at the 1406, followed by TJ Hawkinson, 1407. Curtis Samuel at the 1408, and then Nyheim Hines at the 1409. And Alex is back on the clock.
Looking, I got for the rankings currently, there's lots of quarterbacks stacked up here. So one quarterback league. Typically, I mean, it depends on your league. Some leagues, lots of people take two quarterbacks. In our home league,
pretty much everybody takes two, sometimes three quarterbacks. Take three. So you have to know your league when you're drafting quarterbacks.
Exactly.
I have been spurned. I love to wait on quarterback, and I have been spurned a few times because people before the 13th round. Before the 13th round have taken two, sometimes three quarterbacks. It just drives me absolutely nuts.
Way too long. So, And honestly, like we've talked about in this year with COVID-19, me personally, I would try to pad each position with a little bit of depth, even in redraft leagues.
Yep.
Like I would,
no, I'm with you on that.
I would have, I mean, even, with me taking the likes of Lamar Jackson as a quarterback, I want to have a decent, capable quarterback to be able to back him up in case
Somebody
for some
catches
reason
COVID.
that he shows up to the game 90 minutes before and he has a temperature and they tell him he has to go home.
And that could happen at any point in the season. I mean, you never know. And then you don't know too. I mean, it's more than likely 2 weeks if they test positive, and potentially even 3 or 4. So I like the idea of padding every position, even in redraft leagues this year.
So I'm currently trying to decide between Burrow and Locke, Ben. Joe Burrow or Drew Lock. Both have an immense amount of weapons. Both are kind of sleeper, potential breakout candidates.
I tell you what, I'll take whichever one you don't take at my next pick.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I'm looking to possibly pad that quarterback spot as well.
That's what I would do. That's for sure. I am going to take... Ew.
Well, we did talk pretty good about Burrow in our last episode when which one was that? That was one of our other episodes for our league.
Yep.
Never mind. Sorry.
That was was
for our league that we talked about. Our
bounce back, busts, breakouts, and bounce backs.
Bounce backs, breakouts, and busts. So
yeah, something like that.
We'll post a few of those older episodes for you guys to hear too, since we've relaunched our podcast and we're branching out to a wider audience rather than just our leagues now.
I'm going to take the chance, and I'm going Joe Burrow, my friend.
Oh yeah, yep. So when we post that, I'll maybe do it as a Throwback Thursday post or something. But we'll have our breakouts, bounce backs, and busts that you guys can go and listen to. And we definitely talk pretty highly of Joe Burrow.
We do like Joe Burrow.
One. All right. Baltimore Ravens defense went off 14-11. Pittsburgh Steelers defense followed at the 14-12. Then Alan Lazard at 15-01 and Phillip Rivers at the 15-02. Alex is back on the clock, and we are about to the end of this draft.
Yeah, we are.
In the last 2 rounds here.
I'm going to take a player that you talked about earlier. I think with a new quarterback that came to the team, really likes to utilize that slot position as well, and I think if him and his quarterback match up well, that they could be a really good pairing this year, and this player has breakout potential. I'm going with Paris Campbell right here, 15-3.
Yep. I would be thinking about him in this round if I didn't go Michael Pittman.
I almost thought about taking Drew Lock right there just to spurn you. But
I
did not. I did not. 3 quarterbacks.
So mad at you.
That's a little much for me.
That is a bit much, even in a mock draft, man.
Yeah,
come on.
I wouldn't do that.
All right. Buffalo Bills defense follows 15-04. Chicago Bears defense.
Defense run.
Yep. Kansas City Chiefs 15-06. Then Jack Doyle 15-07. And I am going to go ahead and shore up that quarterback position again just to have who I believe will be a very viable fill-in for Matt Ryan if there's a week that I need somebody else and Drew Lock's the guy. They short his offense up with some picks, man. Now. They definitely built it around him. They drafted around him. If Drew Lock fails, man, it's on him.
Yep.
It's not on the organization anymore.
Jerick McKinnon went 15-9, then Jamal Williams, then Larry Fitz, and then Hunter Renfrow, last pick of the 15th round, and then first pick of the 16th and last round, Los Angeles Rams defense, Minnesota Vikings D, Denver Broncos D, Joshua Kelly, and you're on the clock at 16-5.
I got sniped with the Denver Broncos defense there, who I think is a sneaky good defense this year. But for my defense, I will go ahead and take the New Orleans Saints here in the 16th round. I did not get my pad for the tight end position in this draft, which is something I just noticed. So you want to pay attention to those things. Make sure you get those if you want to.
Well, there's a few options that will be available for you on the fake waiver wire here. Blake Jarwin, O.J. Howard, Greg Olsen.
Blake Jarwin's one that I really like to have as a tight end pad for myself.
There you go.
At the end of these rounds.
There you go. So I
Ian
need
Thomas
a defense
is down there
here.
too.
Ian Thomas, yeah. I need a defense, and I am trying to consider... trying to go between the Buccaneers and Philadelphia Eagles here, and I believe I'm going to go...
Buccaneers lost Gerald McCoy.
They did.
They've got Shaq Barrett, though.
They do have Shaq Barrett, and I like that. And they've gotten better with some acquisitions this offseason in the secondary, so it's not going to be near as bad, and I think it's going to be a world of a difference when you don't have Jameis Winston putting you in the hole, throwing pick sixes,
Absolutely.
So I still do think there's going to be lots of scoring in the NFC South, but that's not necessarily a bad thing if you are in the lead and the other team's trying to play catch up with you.
Right.
So I'm going to take Tampa Bay Bucks defense right here.
There you go. So to finish out that 16th round, we had Tyrell Williams win at 1606, then D.D. Westbrook at the 1607, Anthony McFarland, rookie running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the 1608, Rex Burkhead 1609. Alex took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. And then another sneaky pick down here that I kind of like, James Washington, wide receiver.
I think he has breakout potential
for the
this year
Pittsburgh
too.
Steelers. He's a great late round snag down in these ending.
Oh, there went your tight end buffer.
League. And my tight end buffer, Blake Jarwin, got taken at the
tight end pad.
At the Mr. Irrelevant pick. My tight end pad there. That's all right. I'll go through and I'll put a waiver claim in on Ian Thomas after this, or I'll wait. I'll probably wait until later in the season, just see what happens.
Well, should we read off our teams?
Let's do it. Go ahead and recap here. Go ahead and start it out there, Alex.
Okay, so I was at the third pick slot for this draft, 12-team draft, and my picks go as follows. Saquon, pick 1. Lamar, 2. Mike Evans, 3. Allen Robinson, 4. Kareem Hunt, 5. Ronald Jones, 6. Julian Edelman, 7. Matt Breida, 8. Marvin Jones, 9. Henry Ruggs, 10. Antonio Gibson, 11. Mike Gesicki, 12. Jonnu Smith, 13. Joe Burrow, 14. Paris Campbell, 15. And Tampa Bay Bucks D at 16.
There you go. Not too bad, not too bad. I really like your wide receivers there in the 3rd and 4th round. Not bad with QB super early with Lamar Jackson in the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Your running backs are a little, but I mean, there's a lot of high upside between Kareem Hunt and Ronald Jones.
Exactly, and honestly, like we talked about, Lamar Jackson is a running back / quarterback / running back.
Right.
So
don't call him a running back.
He's not a running back, but he's going to get me a lot of rushing yards as well. A lot of people talking about that he might be kind of rein back in this year, but he's still going to have. He's going to try and make things up with his feet and try and extend plays, and if it doesn't look good. I mean, he's got great speed to be able to get out there and get you 10 yards, 15 yards.
I could easily see another 8 or 9 carries for him a game. I mean, easily 8 or 9. He averaged, I believe, 11 carries a game last year. So I'm not feeling for a quarterback, that's a ton.
Not feeling super stellar about running backs, but I feel better about it if I have Lamar Jackson on my team.
For sure. I like it. With my team went Devontae Adams in the 1st, followed by Kenyon Drake in the 2nd, Todd Gurley in the 3rd. Went for the upside with Amari Cooper in the 4th, then DeAndre Swift in the 5th, Terry McLaurin in 6, Tevin Coleman at 7, Matt Ryan at 8, Hayden Hurst at 9, Jerry Jeudy at 10, Jamison Crowder 11, Damian Harris at 12, Michael Pittman Jr. at 13, Darrington Evans 14, then Drew Lock in the 15th, and the New Orleans Saints defense in the 16th. Both got those NFC South defenses, man.
Yeah, we did.
With those stellar offenses that are going to be going down there.
Lots of scoring.
Wowzers.
You sniped my Hayden Hurst at 9-8.
See what happens. I did indeed. I sniped Hayden Hurst there. I liked the connection, the back-to-back with Matt Ryan and Hayden Hurst in there. But I do think Hayden Hurst has a top 6 or so tight end finish potential, so that'll be fun. Definitely be a lot of fun there. Tried to go with some high upside picks down in the bottom half of the draft after I went with the safe pick of Jamison Crowder in the 11th too. So it's kind of what you got to do. You got to shoot for the stars. Reach for the stars there. All the meanwhile getting some handcuffs.
Some handcuffs.
High upside handcuffs, man. Could be important this year.
You want to kind of give them a quick little insight of what your roster would look like then, like your starting roster? I mean, I know a lot of people when they do mock drafts kind of review their picks, but
yeah,
we can kind of give a quick little insight. On Sleeper, they have the little roster. Well, I think a lot of platforms have it as well after your draft.
They've got a lot of.
You can click the roster key there, and it will slot in players there, and you can kind of get a feel for what your week 1 roster could look like.
I do like how clean Sleeper's roster tab looks when you get on here, too. It's pretty nice. So, yeah, go ahead. Let's give a little starting lineup, what it'll be looking like come week 1.
So, week 1, my roster could look like a quarterback in the quarterback slot. I've got Lamar. My 2 running back slots, I got Barkley and Kareem Hunt. Wide receivers, Mike Evans and Allen Robinson. I like that. Tight end, Mike Gesicki. And then in my flexes right there, I've got Ronald Jones and Julian Edelman. But, man, I would have no problem swapping out Marvin Jones for Ronald Jones potentially. Henry Ruggs if he has a really good matchup. Even Breida potentially if he's got a good defensive matchup. So, yeah, I like it. And then Bucks for my defense.
Not bad, not bad. My starting roster come week 1 will likely look like this. I'll have Matt Ryan in at quarterback, followed by Kenyon Drake and Todd Gurley at running back. And, man, I've got good feelings about Todd Gurley this year. I think he's going to be a steal in the 4th round of redraft leagues, man.
I've been going back and forth. Like, I love that he went to the Falcons, but – man, I don't know. I think it was when he got released from.
I did triple up on Falcon picks.
You did. I noticed that. You went hard for Falcons.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, and you also have the Saints D, so when they play the Saints twice this year, that's not going to work.
I don't worry so much about that.
But
I don't worry so much about that.
The one thing that I just keep going back and forth in my head is, the Rams, they owed Todd Gurley quite a bit of money still from the contract. Obviously, they were regretting the contract. But, man, just the way they utilized him last year, I don't know if they were trying to keep him in good condition so they could potentially try to trade him somewhere, or if they just wanted to try to keep him healthy for the end of the season to make a playoff push, or if they really saw something at the beginning of the season and they thought if they pushed him too hard that his knees would give out on him. So I guess we'll see what the Falcons decide they want to do.
With the 1-year contract in Atlanta, I think they're going to run him hard. and he's coming out and saying that, he's ready and wants a workload and wants to be the guy. So, but I like his upside with where he's being drafted right now. I guess I got him in the 3rd round, but 308. Anyway, so Matt Ryan, Kenyon Drake, Todd Gurley in my running back spots, then Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper at wide receivers. I like that.
I like those.
Hayden Hurst at tight end, and then down in my flexes, I've got DeAndre Swift and Terry McLaurin. I love Terry McLaurin in my flex there. Swift, I think, might get out to a slow start. Probably will get out to a slow start, but
I'd kind of play a wait and see game if I were you.
Eventually, we'll probably see him overtake Kerryon Johnson or get at least the bigger workload there.
With all your rookies,
and he's an absolute beast, man.
With all your
love Swift.
I love Swift too. With all your rookies, with exceptions to maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Joe Burrow potentially if you wait really late on quarterback, start him, and then. A couple of these rookie wide receivers, are going to have opportunities right off the bat. Rieger's going to. Ayuk might as well.
Denzel Mims probably will.
Yep. So,
and you're going to see. You're going to see Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb out there, but it's just a matter of they've got some stellar wide receivers ahead of them right now. So, but yeah, with Swift in the flex there, I would feel pretty comfortable with plugging in Jamison Crowder into that spot or taking the shot with either Jerry Jeudy or Michael Pittman in there as well, kind of rotating through those guys. But then at defense, got New Orleans Saints starting for my defense.
Nice.
And that'll do it for the mock draft. We'll have to get this board put up on the website so you guys can go there and check it out. Might post it out on Twitter where you can find us at Chairman Fantasy and get that so you guys can take a look. Let us know who you think had the better team, who you think that drafted the best. But I think that's what we've got for them today. We'll be coming back at them with our chairman's choices.
Oh, yeah.
On the next episode, find out who the guys are that we want to have on every single team that we draft this year. That's what you can look forward to. In between that, catch the Sasquatch Square Off episode 2 with Matt and myself. We'll be talking about some second-round players in that one. And that does it, man.
That does it.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter at Chairman Fantasy, at FindFFLeagues, and at www.fantasychairman.com.
Listen, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. Where else?
Google Podcasts.
Spotify.
Spotify.
All that good stuff.
We'll see you guys later.
See you later.